Ladies and gentlemen, very big welcome to my week 4 Lectorial. As usual, I take pleasure to actually have you coming to my class, and I look forward that I continue getting you to be engaged both in my lectorials as well as in my webinars. It's just very important. I remind you that your attendance and your engagement are very essential to ensure we're going to help you to go and achieve the best outcome. So please, same as I'm showing my hard work and my dedication and my working in the middle of the night to communicate with you and tell you to come to the classes, I do expect in return that you guys will be attending and paying a lot of attention for this subject. I expect you to be starting to work very early on your assignment and working very hard to be able to go and reach your best outcome. So please do not delay anything. Work hard from the beginning to help you reach best outcome. I remind you that the DEN203 teaching team and consultations are available and loaded on Moodle. So all what you need to do is load into the Moodle site, and you'll be able to find the way to contact us, when to contact us, when we are available to go and help you further. We are always happy to go and help you. So anything you need, you just need to email us, touch base with us, and then you'll find us ready to go and jump on the opportunity that is available to try to serve you guys, because we do care about you. You're working on an individual assignment and you probably started to work on a group assignment. One very important thing that I keep on reminding you is that no copy and pasting from any of the research you're going to go and do. Things have to show me that you've actually used your own language to apply what you're actually learning. If you don't apply things using your own language, you haven't actually achieved the outcome we would like to go and ensure you go and achieve. So make sure you are spending the time to go, and any information you go and find that is relevant, obviously, you're going to go and use your own words to be able to go and explain that as part of your assignment. So please make sure you work hard, you start early. Now we are actually week 4 now, so the first assignment is due in a couple of weeks, so there's not much time left. That's why you need to make sure you're going to continue to be working very closely and very quickly on all of your assignments. And if you don't know who your group members are, it's very important you go and engage with me if you are in my webinars, but also if you are in my colleagues webinars, make sure you engage with with that person, and make sure you go and look at the communication that we've sent to you in relation to any of the group creation. So please don't forget that. It's very important that you start working on your assignment very shortly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, last week we started speaking about, clarity. We tried to make some definitions clear for you. We tried to speak about information system and IT strategy formulation versus planning. We tried to kind of go and make the understanding about what is the difference between, formulating the strategy and what is the difference with, planning the strategy. More planning is more about really what are we going to need to do to be able to go and get to the implementation that is actually required. Formulation is about really knowing what are we trying to go and do. What's the thing we're trying to go and really achieve as part of our work. We spoke about how there's been an evolution of the information system and IT strategy process, from technology deployment to a strategic focus. When we say about, the technology deployment, it was more about every area goes and apply technology. They do whatever they would like, and everybody do whatever they need. And, the role of IT was more kind of creating some sort of integration way for all of these systems to kind of work together, or creating an interface for people to be able to use those solutions to be able to go and really reach the outcomes that they would like to go and reach. But that focus have actually shifted. It shifted more by people starting to go and understand that any information system, a strategy that I need to go and implement, needs to go and really be more aligned with what the business really needs. And when that understanding started increasing, you started having more IS and IT development kind of becoming more business aligned, and business started becoming in charge of ensuring these things get implemented. And you started having that strong alignment between management, between the business people, and between the IT people, working in congruence to be able to go and ensure we are actually able to go and reach the outcomes we would like to go and reach. It's very important you kind of keep on that understanding about the business focus of things and how important, which we will be building on further this week to be able to talk about the analysis that is really required for us to be able to go and continue the alignment with, in terms of what we are providing, making sure it is aligned with what the business really needs at any point of time. We're speaking about the business context for developing and managing strategy. Like there's a business itself, what is happening in the business, what is happening in the business, outside the business, from various perspectives. We need to not simply know what is happening with the business now. We need to be continuously knowing what's happening inside and outside the business. We need to be flexible. If we need to go and reallocate and change the resources provision at any area of our work, we need to go and make that adjustments very, very quickly and appropriately to ensure we are able to go and really reach the right outcomes. And that's something we spoke about in the first couple of weeks, about how we need to go and keep on evolving and changing the allocation of our resources, make it more what's the word, make it more to be an adjusted, not simply a static allocation of resources. We spoke about how we're going to go and have a scope for our strategy. We spoke, we can have a strategy based on a, strategic business unit. We can have on a corporate strategic business unit, to name a few. You need to decide how are we going to go and really create the scope of our strategy. We spoke about a framework for IS and IT strategy formulation. What's a framework? What do we need to go and do? And that framework really about, thinking about so many contexts, IS framework, IT framework, the management of all of these solutions, looking at what's happening in terms of information system and IT outside the business, inside the business, as well as what's happening in terms of the business inside and outside. All of these are really congruent and are very, very important to help us reach the best outcome. We spoke about other deliverables from the IS and information technology strategy process, speaking about, the soft output, hard outputs, things like knowing the culture, knowing the structure, knowing how people work, are some of the things we need to go and really mention and really know about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today I am going to be talking about understanding the current situation, talking about the business operating model. What are the processes we have? What activities we do? What are the key entities available within the organization? We need to understand the current business situation. We need to understand the current business situation, because that will help me to go and understand what I need to go and deliver into the business from an information system perspective. We need to talk about the organizational environment, both inside the business, what's happening, and outside the business, what is actually happening. We need to examine the existing IS and IT environments. We need to examine the organizational environment. We need to look at the information and systems to meet the current business objective. What information do we need? What systems do we need? And to be able to go and get that information and that systems, we need to have some way for us to be able to go and assess and see, have we actually delivered what we are expected to go and really deliver? Thinking about stuff like the balance scorecard, thinking about stuff like these, critical success factors. The balance scorecard kind of tries to tell me what needs to go and be achieved. The success factors try to kind of tell me what factors I need to go and make sure they exist for my success to actually be achieved. And you need to then start making the measurement to be able to ensure the outcomes are actually being delivered. We're talking about the process analysis, analyzing all of our processes to see, is there any problem with the information that we need and it's not available? Is there any problem with our current processes? And you might say, well, I need to go and redesign my processes. And, analyzing my current process and redesigning my current process all tells me there's more information that might become needed within my business. And I need to make sure I'm going to be working on providing all of that information. We need to evaluate the gap between our existing and our required information system and IT environments. So all of these are things we need to go and bear in mind, because any gap, we need to go and try to fulfill that gap, solve that gap, so that the right information is going to go and be available for our business to go and be successful. We need to answer assessment questions. I'm going to talk about assessment today, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask questions about both assignment 1 and assignment 2. So it's very, very important that you guys keep on paying attention. Now, one thing I would like to go and highlight for you is the fact that I actually went and I made sure I Can I just show you that? I've checked on on my YouTube channel to be able to see whether you guys have been actually attending and listening to my explanation. I noticed that, you know, I gave you this DEN203 Lectorial 3 Assessment 1 explanation. I did notice that many of you have not played it yet. I noticed also that out of the 32 who viewed it, maybe 30 actually, 4 of you basically liked that video because they found it useful. So anyone who haven't listened or they haven't been coming to my class on a regular basis, I need you to be able to go and be coming. And I just sent on a chat box to all of you that video if you haven't played it yet, which will help you in answering many of your questions relating to your first assignment. So please make sure you basically listen to the videos and any recording that I give you to ensure you're going to basically be getting the best outcome. Do not start your assignment late. Start working on them if you haven't already started doing so. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to really understand the current situation. We need to understand the external business environment. We need to understand the internal business environment, and we need to actually make an interpretation of the business strategy. Now, let me ask you this question, please. And I would like to go as usual. I always respect your views. I always like to listen to those views. I want you to tell me, how can understanding the business environment helps in defining the IS strategy? How understanding the internal and external business environment help me in defining the information system strategy? What can you tell me?
So like internal business environment, like knowing the internal business environment and the external business environment, like it's definitely going to help the business strategy, you know, because we have to know like what's going on inside the organization, and we have to know the environment that is happening outside the organization. What is the how is the business going on? How is the business affected by the lots of factors in the outside environment? Like what are the like limitations that are happening inside the businesses as well? Lots of those factors. Understanding those factors help us to define the IS strategy, so we can keep on moving forward, like developing the new strategy and like following the you know, like market and those sort of things.
Thank you very much, Indra. I really, really appreciate your answer. So you're saying we need to understand what's happening outside the business and inside the business, because otherwise, you know, we can't, you know, get the IS strategy. But can anyone, you or anyone else, elaborate more on how? How does it help? So we know we need to understand the external environment and internal, but how can the understanding actually help in defining the strategy? What can we specifically do because we understand what's happening outside and inside the business?
We can achieve our goals, sir.
Is this Rajiv?
We can achieve our goals and we can success in what we are doing. If we understand the situation,
we can achieve our goals and succeed. That's 100% correct. And that's basically going to be aided by information system, the strategy. So what would my information system strategy actually give me? What will it give me?
So without understanding the environment, we are not like, we're just putting the strategy blindly, you know, like we're not focusing towards our goal. We're just putting our strategy in a blind way that we don't know anything about that, and then we're just putting the strategy. That's not going to help the organization.
Exactly. We need to know exactly, like we need to kind of look outside. Okay, what is happening outside? Oh, they're doing this and they're doing this and they're doing this. Oh, I need to kind of operate in a certain manner. Or you look at your existing system, you find, okay, I don't have this information, I'm missing this, this is a problem, this is an issue. So when you kind of look at the external and internal environments, you can actually understand the sort of information that is going to be needed. And by understanding the information that is going to be needed for the business to be able to go and succeed, then I'll be able to go and start making my plans to be able to work on delivering specifically
So I would like to, I would like to add to this. I think it also helps us to distinguish between the opportunities and threats available to the system.
Absolutely, Shahriar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally, you know, what opportunities are available, what threats are available. It is totally accurate there, guys. It's about really, if I don't know what the business need, and if I don't know what the strategy is, how am I going to be able to go and create a plan that is going to provide the information that the system really needs or the business really needs to be able to go and succeed? The simple things, I don't know. How do I know what application I need to build to be able to go and give the business the information that they need? How do I know the application that is available outside that could give the business the information that they need? So by looking what's happening outside, by looking what's happening inside, you really form a great view about what we need to go and actually achieve as a business, and from there what information systems needs to go and be available, and what tools need to be available for the actual organization to be able to access that information that it needs through the availability of the right technologies and the right systems that provide the right information. So we look at the external environment, we look at the internal environment, and what do we do from there? We interpret our strategy to be able to go and ensure we're going to go and build the foundations of what we are going to be delivering from an information system perspective. That's really essential for us to be able to go and get to that particular point. In defining and understanding the business, we need to kind of really understand the business model. In defining the operation model, how the business operates, we need to look at so many things. You know, what processes do we have within the business? What activities do we make? What entities do we have? Now, why do we need to do that? Because first of all, everything in an organization happens through a process. Anybody knows what a process is? What does a process means? What does a process means? Anyone?
I think it's a plan for the process.
Plan? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you something. Shekhar, I want to ask you a question, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Did you have breakfast today?
Yeah.
Tell me every step you follow to make breakfast.
So
Every step.
Coffee. Yeah, I make a coffee and then I
No. Making the coffee is the end result.
Okay.
I want every step.
Every step.
Every step.
So from the beginning of the buying and everything, like groceries.
No. Just you have them at home. Every
Yeah.
step inside home. What have you done?
So I twist the bread, cook the eggs.
Okay, well, let's stop. You walked into the fridge.
Yes.
You picked up the bread.
Yeah.
You close the fridge. You open the bread.
Yeah.
You toss the bread. You take the bread out. You put the jam or whatever on the bread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you put it on a plate. You move to the table. You take the actual item and you start eating.
Eating, yeah.
Okay, you see how my process or my steps that I told you are much more different than you told me I went and I did coffee. I went to every step that is required to be able to ensure we're going to get the right outcome. And that's really what a process. The process really explains the whole thing, how it works. So let's say we are talking about SISCC. What is the process for me to go and, you know, finalize your assignment mark? There's a process. First of all, I need to go and set up Moodle. Well, before that, I need to set up the assignment. I need to load the assignment. I need to go and explain about the assignment. I need to go and set up Moodle where you're going to submit your assignment. You're going to start working on that assignment. You're going to submit your assignment. I'm going to open that assignment. I'm going to read it. I'm going to look at the marking criteria. I'm going to mark the assignment. I'm going to put the assignment, the marking on the system. You see every single step that is available along the way. Can you see that? And what the system gives me, okay, you go and say, all right, there's every single step that I need to go and follow. And then you say, all right, what information do I need to get that job done? Well, I need to have an information system that is going to allow me to go and load, load the, assignment. I need a system that's going to be able to automatically generate for me any similarity problems. I need the system that's going to go and actually show me where I'm going to go and enter the mark and analyze the marks. So you see how there's so much information that I'll need to be able to go and be accessing. So when you talk about a process, you talk about every, the whole thing, the steps from A to Z that needs to be followed for something to go and be completed. Coming to the class is a process, doing your assignment is a process. Making a transaction on internet banking is a process, running reports about student attendance in Zoom is a process. Me following up with you every week about whether you're attending or not is a process. Everything is a process. And there are activities that we do as part of this process. There are key entities involved. There could be departments within the organization. But when you go and look at the process, and why is the process important? It's because when you look at a process, when you look step by step, you can then understand what information the process needs to operate. But you can also look about what issues are they, and the form that the information you need is not actually available, and that's actually preventing you from really reaching the right outcome. And when you see, oh, this is a process, but I don't have that information, I need the system to help me get that information, you start basically making and getting the information that is needed to get the job you want to go and really get. That's the sort of thing we want to go and think about. So in defining our operating model, we're thinking about processes, activities, and key entities, but we also need to ask ourselves this question, two very, very important questions, which are basically how much standardization do we need in the process and how much information integration do we need in the process. Now, if I talk about standardization, guys, anybody have been to Aldi? Anybody been to Aldi?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, but
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Obviously.
If you go to more than one Aldi, are they organized differently or similarly?
Similarly.
Why are they similarly? Why are they organized in the same manner? Why is there standard process?
Same
Standard,
one,
you know.
Why?
because they are same company.
Yeah, but
So
why do
they
you do
can
it?
carry out information integration.
Their strategies, maybe.
Well, that could be one of the ways, guys. Okay, let me give you an example. I used to hate going to Woolworths, and the reason why I used to hate going there is because every time I go to Woolworths, I find the information, the resources reorganized, and they move them between one area and another area. They always move them. When you go and have a standardized process, I'm going to give it to you from a business perspective. If I want to go and employ someone in Aldi in Bankstown or Aldi in Fairfield or Aldi in Liverpool or whatever Aldi it is, I can go and send that person. They can go and work there straight away, the same way they basically go and work in any other place. Why? Because the process is standardized. Okay. When I create a standardized process, every one of my employees will be able to go and follow that process. They know what basically needs to be done. It's not hard. It's not difficult. They know exactly how things need to go and really be completed to be able to go and get a particular job. Tell me.
So does it really depends upon the size of the organization? Because I think LD is not as big as Woolworth.
Yeah, look, you're right. Every organization, and it's not necessarily simply the size. It's more about really how much standardization and how much integration is really needed for that business to operate. I'll be talking further about it next week. But for example, a business like Amazon, for instance. Okay, so what do I have with Amazon? Is it standard? Is it not standard?
I think so. It's standard because I haven't used Amazon that much.
But it's big.
Like it's big enough. Like big, like it's pretty big. Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's talk about banking. Do you think the banks needs to have all the information integrated together? Yes or no?
Yeah, for sure.
Why is that?
Like they operate on a big level.
Exactly. So otherwise, you're going to go to one bank, you're going to pick up $1 million, and then the business account doesn't go and make any adjustments. So you go to the other bank, other branch, and you pick up another $1 million. So yeah, I'm rich now. Ooh.
Inshallah.
It's inshallah. As the first million is the hardest. After that becomes easy. But guys, talking about the millions, I'm sure you guys will be able to become millionaire. That shouldn't be a problem. If you continue and you stick your head into IT and you work very hard, guys, IT have jobs 200 to 50, 300,000 a year, mate. So I know you have all of the potential to be able to achieve those sort of outcomes. But talking about the business model, we need to understand, if we want to know the process, we're going to know what information is needed. You ask yourself, how much standardization do we need in the process, and how much information integration do we need in the process? Integration is where everybody is going to go and need to go and have the right information, similar information. Otherwise, there's going to be problem in terms of operation, and that's something that needs to go and really be avoided at all costs. Standardization. Again, I found a lot of benefits from having a standard process, because multiple people and different departments will be able to go and use that process. They know exactly what they need to do, and people will be able to go and explain those processes to other people. But the process that we use, whether it's standardized or integrated or non-integrated, they all require information. It's just about understanding what sort of information are we really going to be needing. Okay, thank you very much for your question, Datong. It was more about any LD, my friend, because they're all really very similar format in terms of how they set up the stores. They're not really very, very different. Now, guys, we need to think about the organizational environment. When I talk about the organizational environment, we need there's many reasons why we need to go and know that. We need to know because we need to understand what sort of, how easy is it for us to be able to really get the information that we need within the business, and whether there are the infrastructure available for us to even go and get any of that information. So we think about, various techniques for organizational modeling. There's Kotter's model, which we'll be explaining further on Thursday, but they talk about a few things to go and do in terms of analyzing the organization. Let's talk about the employees that are available. Let's talk about the assets we have. Let's talk about the organizational structure and how people interact with each other. Let's talk about the technology we have available. Let's talk about what's happening outside the business to be able to go and understand, its impact that potentially on how I operate within the organization. Now, why do we need to go and have that, organizational modeling understanding? We need to understand the environment where we are going to be operating before we take any action. Once we basically understand the environment, and once we start taking actions, we need to go and monitor what impact did my actions really go and help me to go and deliver at that particular point in time. It is about getting the outcomes we want to get. And that's what we need to go and really work on very, very well within the organization. Ladies and gentlemen, it's part of finding all of this information we need to also look at the external, not simply business environment, but the external information system and IT environments, the internal information system and IT environment. So we need to think about, what's happening outside and what's happening inside. What is the value of exploring the external and internal IS and IT environments? What do you think? What is the value from doing that, my friends? What's the value? What do you think?
The value means, sir?
Yeah, what's the value? What is the value of exploring the external IS and IT environments and the internal IS and IT environments? What is the value from doing so?
It has got a huge value, like without exploring, you won't know anything at all.
So when I talk about IS and IT, what am I talking about?
We're talking about the how is the condition of IS and IT environment in the external environment, like about our competitors, about our different other organizations.
Yeah, but when I talk about IS and IT specifically, what am I talking about in terms of IS and IT?
So that means how much is the environment?
Sorry, you're cutting off, mate.
How is the IS and IT is change in the external world, beside the organization, what are people expecting from the company? Those are the external factors, and how much we're behind those things, or how much we're advanced in those in that field. That is the internal IS and IT environment.
Thank you, Indra. Guys, how is that different from the business IT and environments, and the business instead of IS and IT environments? How is that different from the business environments, sort of looking outside and inside? IS and IT environments is different than business environments. What's the difference? What am I looking at when I'm looking at AS and IT? What am I looking at?
Looking for the systems to upgrade.
I'm looking at the technology and I'm looking at the systems.
How we gonna make our business a little bit more advanced?
Yeah, correct. Check out. That's 100%. And that's exactly the point that I'm making. We want to go and look at the business 100%. We need to see what the business is doing 100%. But we also need to look at the IT. You know, what IT and what systems I have already in the organization. What IT and systems that are available outside of my organization that I also need to go and look at. We need to look at all of this information to be able to go and really look at what we need to go and do at any point of time. There is a value, guys, from really looking at that. It's about really looking externally and internally to be able to understand, you know, potentially the opportunities. Like, you know, Shariar earlier said, we need to look at the opportunities. Correct. You know, what opportunities is available by anticipating and using all of these systems that are available externally that I'll be able to go and rely on and I'll be able to go and work on. This is something called the technology radar, and it's a very, very kind of nice tool because what it actually highlights, it highlights the areas, you know, that any new technology is likely to go and impact. For example, there's machine learning. It's going to be impacting on cloud computing. Okay, great. We know exactly where I'm going to be able to go and use that. It also look at the potential scale of the income. Let's look at how big the circle. The impact is going to be moderate. They also attach a time dimension, illustrating when in the future the technology is likely to have an impact. This is likely going to go and have an impact in about 1 year time. So you kind of look specifically about, you know, the sort of technologies that might be available out there. The radar serves as a prompt for a discussion about the technologies and the potential impact on those technologies on the business and the potential information that technology might actually go and help me to go and have available, and the potentially the IS strategy that I need to go and make to be able to go and anticipate and explore and benefit from all of those technologies that will be able to go and add a lot of value within my business. That's something to really go and consider and bear in mind. Now, when we go and try to understand what we're trying to go and do, we need to kind of have a way of assessing to ensure that things are actually working the way we want them to go and actually work. You know, you have a very, very famous tool called the balance scorecard. And what the balance scorecard does, it tries to go and look at 4 main components: financial component, customer component, learning and growth components, and internal operation component. Financially, they kind of look and say, okay, to succeed financially, how should we appear to our stakeholders? Customers, well, what do we do? To achieve our vision, how should we appear to our customers? Learning and growth, to achieve our vision, how will we sustain our ability to change and improve? An internal business operation, to satisfy our shareholders and customers, what business processes must be excel at? When you look at all of these various processes, they are all interlinked and they are all linked to our vision and they are all linked to our strategy. We need to kind of understand for every area, what's the objective, what initiative we're going to have, what's the target, what we need to also have the right measurement, measuring progress to ensure we are reaching the outcomes we would like to go and reach. If it means about let me get the right information systems in the business, it is about let me go and get those things that will have to go and align with the right business process. We look at all of these critical factors, you know, every objective. What is the critical factor that will help me to achieve that objective? We try to get a consolidation of all of these balance scorecard and objective with our critical success factors, and we try to go and make the measurement to ensure that whatever we're trying to go and achieve is something that we basically manage to go and successfully achieve.
Sir.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we spoke about so many various concepts today. One of them that is really important I want to talk about now is process analysis. I spoke about a process earlier, and I said a process about all of these steps that I need to go and follow to be able to get an outcome. There's a process to, you know, have internet banking. There's a process to go and get the Zoom attendance on the system. There's a process for, you know, eating. There's a process to have breakfast. There's a process for everything. Now, I want to ask you, if you are working in an organization, could be a banking organization, could be a retail organization, could be could be seek.com.au, any organization. How can process analysis helps us in defining the IS strategy? How can analyzing the process help me to identify and define my information system strategy? What do you think?
Enterprise organized along functional and hierarchical lines.
Sorry, Matt, your voice is very low. Could you please repeat?
So, sir, can you please repeat the question?
I'm saying, how can us analyzing the
But I think
process
by doing
help
it with
us?
our competitors.
1 second, my friend. How can the process analysis, how can us analyzing our processes within an organization, how does it actually help us in defining the information system strategy that we need to go and use? What do you think?
So I think that, sorry, can I? Yeah.
Go on, Sharia.
So I think by doing the process analysis, we can analyze the step and actions we have taken to actually implement actually happening in the market at the moment.
So you're talking, we can identify the steps we need to do to compete in the market.
Yeah,
okay.
we can compare it with the competitors in the market, what IS strategy they have implemented.
Okay, so you're saying the process analysis, yeah, look, it is almost there, but there's a bit of a step that is missing between how process linked to strategy. Okay, so there's more.
So what kind of like, yeah, so like if we are properly integrating the technologies we have implemented, or the information we have is properly passed onto the proper channels by analyzing the process.
Okay, sorry, Sharia, but your internet is going and coming. I can't actually hear the whole thing you're saying. So I'm kind of hearing some of it, but I'm not actually hearing the rest of it.
So, but so if I start again, like if we analyze the process, we can make sure the information we have is being passed on through proper channels.
The information we have is coming through the right channel. Okay, so if we analyze our processes, we see whether the information we need is actually coming through the right channels.
Like,
and if it's not,
we are passing it. Yeah, we are passing it on to all the channels within the business.
Okay, but if we're not passing it, how does it help me to define the IS strategy? If I'm not passing it,
like by passing, I mean implementing it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys, that's very close to the point. When you talk about a process, you talk about every step that needs to be done in the process. When you talk about every step that needs to be done in the process, you understand that the process, for it to be operating, it needs to have a particular type of information. And it's about ensuring either sometimes it have the information it needs, or it is actually producing the information that is going to be needed for us to be able to go and make the business decision. So when I talk about analyzing the process, I do analyze, am I getting the right information that I actually need to get the job done? And sometimes it might be simply, is a system, is a process really producing the information that I really go and need to be able to get the job done? If the answer for any of these is no, it basically helps me to go and really define how can I go and actually update my information system strategy in a way that it's going to go and enable me to go and reach the outcome that I would like to go and really go and reach. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty.
Yep.
So
yes,
okay, well, let me show it to you a bit further. When I talk about a process, the process goes through many departments. It could go from department 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It could go to so many various areas in the organization. And along the way, there's information that actually come through various people. Okay. So for example, when I go and look at my attendance, I go through a channel, I go through the system, I find the information, I get the information, I communicate that information. It could go to the admin department, it could then go to the actual learning and development department, it could then go to the senior management department, it could then go to it goes to so many various places to be able to go and get the job done. If I have a process that's supposed to go through many steps, if I find that, for example, step 1, I don't have the information that I need, then I know what sort of information system solutions I need to go and invest in to possibly get that input that I need to be able to get the job done. The system might get to the end, and we're finding that at the end, the system is not generating the information that we need, then you know what you need to go and implement as a system to be able to go and change this issue, to be able to get the information to go and get generated at the end to flow to the right people. So it's very, very important to really make your analysis, understanding what we're trying to go and do at a point of time, because by making that understanding, that's where we are able to go and understand whether the information is flowing or not. And if it's not, what sort of solutions am I going to be making for that information to actually start flowing to the right areas. When I talk about, our processes, sometimes we need to go and redesign my process. Redesign is about either making, adjustments to my process, and it could be slight adjustments, or it could be, let me go and take the whole process away and introduce a brand new process to be able to go and generate the outcomes I would like to go and generate. You think about so many areas. You think, for example, what areas can I actually go and have, redesign in my business? Areas where you find a lot of overproduction, areas where you see a lot of waiting time, areas where you see a lot of transportation, processing time that is high, areas where you see a lot of inventory, areas where you see a lot of defects, duplication, reformatting issues, inspecting issues. Guys, all of these various areas, we want to try to go and eliminate all of these. We might want to try to simplify the forms, simplify the procedures, simplify our communication, technology, problem areas, and any flows we have. We might want to go and try to integrate jobs with teams, with customers, with suppliers, creating more integration to get the right job. We might be trying to go and get a lot of automation. Any dirty activity, any difficult activity, any dangerous activity, any boring activity. We want to capture the data, processing the data, transferring the data, analyzing the data. All of these are areas that will basically be very beneficial. We'll be able to go and make many improvements within the process to be able to go and help us to reach the right outcome. Now, once we make all of these analysis inside the business, outside the business environment, the external environment, the IS environment, the IT environment, all of these things we do is because we want to try to identify a potential gap between what we need and what is really needs to have. So what is the actual gap? Analysis of the range of aspects of the current business strategy. We identify the gap between the current resources and competencies we need and those that we need to actually have in order for us to be able to go and satisfy the future information system demand and be able to go and reach the right outcome that the organization really needs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to now start and moving to talking about the group assignment. And then I'll also allow you to go and potentially ask questions relating to the individual assignment. So I'm going to start doing that now. But I'm going to just end this lectorial recording for now, and I will start recording another video.